Okay, starting with 464. We've done this one a couple of times. The 5mm holes, 2 places. We're going to make those through the holes. We haven't figured out how to drill a hole. If we're 3D printing, it could be cylindrical or a groove, but not in a hole fashion. So let's go to part metric. And we'll start with the shared sketch on the right plane. And give a couple circles to get going. Outside diameter is 40. And the inside diameter is 16. For the cutouts, we're going to set up some quadrants. Alright, so picking the circle, we can see the quadrant, go to the corners, and that should give us enough to start making the cuts. Alright, I'll go ahead and accept. And, oh, yeah, I jumped out of it before, so we're going to go with the outside contour. And we have 20mm. And then we'll go to the end geometry. So expand out, go into the sketch, extrude. Oh, I had another sketch in there that I needed to pull. So, all right, we'll kick out of that one, get back into the original sketch. Add it. Need to add the 22mm diameter. And we'll go ahead and accept. Alright, so extrude the sketch. Pick the 22mm diameter. It has an overall of 60. And we'll go ahead and accept. And then the through hole can be cut extrude. Reverse the direction through all. Alright, now the quarter cuts. Pick our geometry. And the undercut will go from the end face back to face, so we'll extrude cut. The from can go to surface and plane. And the end condition will be up to surface, so we'll stop. And then get into the selected contours. We'll pick the 3 regions so that it makes a quarter cut out of the lower portion. Okay. And then for our depth, we have 20 at the end, so we'll just do the math and come up with 40. So extrude cut. Cut portion is going to be those 3 items. We're going to reverse the direction, give it 40mm, and go ahead and accept. Alright, so that makes the undercut and the relief. We'll go into the hole wizard, so S key. Hole wizard is also up on the command manager, but the S key will be one of the icons. And see metric, drill sizes, we're going down to 5mm. And up to next, set the position. Get a few dimensions, so 6mm from BOD and 10mm, so basically centered on the horizontal. And we'll go ahead and accept. S key again. Should have all of our parameters set for position. 6mm depth, and then if we can show the previous, So there's its location, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to pick it up. Alright, so right-clicking can usually show, but since I'm in the whole wizard command, it's not going to give it to me. So let's go ahead and accept it. When we have the whole wizard, the first one is the point location, second one is the profile. Alright, so each of those sketches generates some of the geometry. So I'd like those to be tied together, first one to the second one. So I can set a vertical relation between those points. Again, because it's being projected into the sketch plane, it becomes usable geometry. Save that. And save. Alright, so we get to 65, which I haven't seen before. So looking at our geometry, radiuses 52. Again, intersecting the hole, so 30 millimeters from the backside, 37. Kind of looks like on center line, so and be my my front plane. All right, so new metric. And we'll pick up the geometry. So for the dimensions, we have 60 overall and 45 on the height. And we'll put in a fillet. So the sketch fillet, we'll pick either the two-line geometry. Okay, so I could pick the two lines and a little easier if they weren't connected or had a gap, or we can go right to the vertex. Now we have 45. No, either is a 52 or a 32, so it must be a 32. Okay, that looks a little better. And we want to keep the constrained corner so that if we delete that fillet, it'll go back to the geometry. Through hole is 20. So we'll go ahead and include that. Don't know that it's at the center. We're given 20 and 20 as dimensions. Okay, and then feature, extrude boss base. We're going to go to midplane and 60 on the width. Okay, so for the undercut, we have 40 millimeters to the inside and then 5 millimeters two places. Let's see, as far as the depth, 3 millimeters two places. So to get that profile, I'm going to start on the front plane, and we'll offset with a from. And mainly because we're going to use the front plane as a we could use the front plane as a mirror feature if we needed it, and we haven't done that, so maybe that's what I'll go ahead with. We'll do the from and the to, and then mirror it over the front plane. So front plane be the sketch. We're going to pick up the geometry and offset it. Doesn't look like the notch continues across the back. So we're going to reverse the direction, give it the 3 millimeters, and I want to, it's not going to let me cap the ends. Oh, since I just picked the edge geometry and did not convert it in yet. Alright, so convert entities, pick our geometry and then do an offset, let it select the chain, and then reverse the direction. Now we'll have the ability to cap. Alright, so when I just pick the edges, it's doing the offset and only going to generate that object geometry, not converting in the edge. Okay, so that puts me on center line. Feature then is an extrude cut. It's 5 millimeters long, and the from is going to be offset, and our split was 40 millimeters, so we're going to offset at 20 millimeters. And I want to think of it in terms of it is 20 millimeters and then an additional 5. So we'll double check that. Now let's go ahead and mirror it, and then we'll check the edge. All right, so front plane, cut extrude 1. Under patterns, we're going to be able to find the mirror. And feature to mirror is the cut extrude. Since I did a control select of the front plane and the extrude, it found the locations to place those, and then double checking that the length is 40 millimeters. The intersecting hole then, we could start from the back. It is on center line, and we also have enough of a flat here, or we could pick up the right plane as our sketch locations. So 30 millimeters. And 37 off of the base. Maybe not. No, that's interesting. So for 45, diameter 30, center, making it vertical. So as tall as that is, 45, and the diameter of 30, I don't think 27 will do it, but we can check. Alright. Take a second here and find the original sheet. Nope. Original sheet says 37. So I'm inclined to believe 27. Alright. So another one of those. Need to verify the dimensions against the assembly and the final function of the part. But this will get it to where at least looks plausible. And the other issue then would be if we went from 30 to 20. Okay, so if we left that 37 and went to a diameter of 20, what would it look like? And whenever we make those changes, then we'll rebuild. So still not quite there. Alright, so considering that we're going to do this in an iterative process, then we'll build it in and verify. Okay. On to 66. Alright, so radius point is just above center. So 50 by 80 by 55 and 30-degree angle. So I might as well go ahead with the angled face on the front, bring it forward, and then we'll put the radius in. Okay, so staying with the metric, front plane, sketch. Put in our angle geometry. Just a quick double check. So 26. Set an overall height of 55. Width of 80. 30 degrees. And we're and extrude that out 50 millimeters. Alright, so if you do the ruler, notice that as we're further out, it's going to go at higher increments. And then when we get to the smaller numbers, it's going to go at smaller increments. So I can get it to 50, but I'm really not going to chase that number every time. So if I'm just getting a direction, I'll pull the ruler, but for the most part, I'll come over and just type in the value that I want. All right, so let's go ahead and open up the sketch. And look for an inference, but not really giving me one. So dimension is off the edge, and a radius of 37 is going to be 74. And we'll double check my math by switching it back over to radius. And then position-wise, well, we're given a little bit above, but no set number on the height. All right, so we need to come up with a starter. And then we'll have to go back and verify it as well. Okay, so through all gives us the sweeping geometry. And then from the back side, since we have that nice planar surface, we'll go with the rectangle. Which is going to be 12 millimeters down, 10 millimeters in depth. Okay, and then the features, extrude cut, and we'll go with through all. Alright, so that geometry has the potential to change if my number for the center of the arc is off by a little. Alright, B4-66, and we'll save. Alright, 67 we've seen before. So probably we'll do this one in a revolve. Don't have too much opportunities to do the revolve, so basically we'll create the center line profile and then make the revolve. So this can start on the top plane, and we're going to the metric template. Top plane, sketch. Whenever we're doing the revolve, just like symmetry, we'll set up our center line. Go into the line command by hitting the L on the keyboard, and put in the geometry. So there's no through hole. So the one thing that the revolve is going to want is to close this off. So it's looking for that closed profile. All right. So when we go into the diametral dimensions, because I'm going between an object and the center line, if I'm on the far side of the center line, then I will get a diameter, and if I'm in between, I will get a radius. So there's the 40 millimeters, 80 millimeters long. We had 50 millimeters to the step. Looks like 28 millimeters. And then we have 5 by 45. Yeah, so we'll get linear in position, the 45, and that looks good. Alright, so when I go into the revolve, it's going to see that center line, and the center line becomes the axis of revolution. If I hadn't generated the center line, then I would have to pick the object line that I created. If this was a through hole and I left it as a gap, then I would still need a center line to be able to complete the revolve. Alright, so going into the front plane, let's go with rectangle. Set the end coincident. Look for a coincidence at the top. And this is just going to be a straight cut through. And could have left it an open profile with 2 lines, but that's an easy pick. Alright, so I grabbed center line, but we have 19 millimeters, so the model doesn't look quite right as far as the position of kind of where we would project the center line of the cylinder. So that being the case, I need to break the midpoint. Yeah, it looks like we got 2 midpoints. So we'll bring that back coincident. And then I'm going to look for the silhouette edge. And the silhouette edge again is where that plane passes through a cylinder. There'll be 2 solutions, a silhouette edge at the bottom, silhouette edge at the top. And since it's already a feature, we'll go ahead and complete it. 12 millimeters through. So toss up between the hole wizard and just sketching the hole here. And again, if it was my design intent, at some point may make this a countersink or a counterbore, then that would drive my decision. Alright, so make sure I got the horizontal. And position is 30 off of the end. Extrude cut, and we'll go through all. Alright, so looking once more, since I made the assumption back to the step, we're going to make one more change to that sketch. Alright, so I got coincident that I'm going to need to break. Okay, not that end point, not the step. There it goes. Make sure that I get all of the relations. Alright, so wasn't sure which coincidence, so got rid of both. And then we'll go back and set the coincidence. So double check and recheck. Alright, so now I have something that looks like the model. Alright, 68 is a cylinder with an angled cut. So 60 and 80 and 50. Yeah, the scan didn't come out very well, so I'll double check. Yeah, okay, 68. And we're in metric, so new. Go to the right plane. $50 for the interior. And 68 for the exterior. Extrude. Oh, gotta maximize my screen back out. 80 millimeters. It doesn't really matter which way it's going. We'll go ahead and accept it. Front plane sketch. Pick up our edge. Alright, so it didn't quite grab, but there is a coincident didn't really go to the silhouette edge, but I have enough geometry to work with. But as I'm setting the dimension, there's my silhouette edge. So 30 millimeters, and that is going to center line. So we'll just pick the midpoint, or we could pick the endpoint and the origin and make those horizontal. Features, extrude cut. Direction is good. Alright, well, side to cut is good. Through all both. And we make the cut. Okay. And same on both sides. Alright, so that helps with the geometry. And a little bit of taper, 16 down to 22. So we'll start with this end profile, and then we'll make the tabs off to the side. Right, going back into our metric template, front plane, pick up the sketch, and those angles, there's no step in there, so I can use a rectangle, and we'll set that to the midpoint. Find the vertical for the relation for the two sides so that I can bring those in. We'll set a center line. That'll establish symmetry. Make sure that that goes vertical. So I found the midpoint. Make the line vertical. That'll pull it back in. And then our top is 16. And the bottom was 22. Alright, we have a height of 60, so I could go to the center line or between the two object lines. And then for the step, no inside taper, just 10 millimeters. And I didn't set any symmetry, so the two endpoints will work. 10 millimeters centered. And off of the base, 20 millimeters. All right, so this is going to, I think we'll use the mid plane. So this is going out 120. Pick the inside geometry and make sure that we're at mid plane. Okay, at the top. Let's see, the height is also 20, so it would come up to the base. That's a concern because with the taper, that's going to fall back a little bit. So at the very least, we would want to be coincident with this edge, not necessarily the bottom edge. So either the bottom of the part becomes our sketch, and we can go to the hidden lines visible. Select the midpoint. Control select, make those horizontal. And we had a radius of 10. Oh, so that would be 20 on the diameter or to the end. Let's see, 30 to the outside. Okay, so from the bottom edge to the center line, 30. I'm going to switch this over to construction. Pull the tangent arc, and we can go ahead and put the circle through, the hole through, and it has a diameter of 10, that'll be 6 holes. Alright, so the choice here is, do we mirror within the sketch and extrude out, or mirror as a feature? Since we have the right plane bisecting the part, that would be as good. If I need to mirror in the sketch, though, we're going to go with the center line, do the window pick, mirror the entities, and got the center line in that mix. So remove it from the entities to mirror selection and change it to the mirror about. Alright, and then those features, let's go back to the shaded with edges. Features extrude, reverse the direction, and 20 millimeters. Alright, so our radius is 1.5. Oh, we still have the through holes, so those will go to the right plane. And those are going to be symmetrical. 15 millimeters, 4 places, so go back into the center line, create our geometry. Go ahead with the mirror. $15 up, 15 mm down, or off the edge and then down, and then 10 mm on the diameter. Alright, and this is in the center so that when I do the extrude cut, oops, jump over to direction 1, through all both, and set the geometry. Alright, so it doesn't show a fillet across the top. So since there's only 4, I'll do the control select for each of those edges. And we'll go to 1.5 millimeters. And that looks good for our geometry, so we'll go ahead and save it.